But here it is. So we finished with the sun salutations last time, and I changed the orientation of my mat for the standing poses. So after you finish your sun salutations, you can come into Samastiti, equal standing. Big toes together, heels apart. As you're standing, you want your shoulders up, back and down, engaging the core, pressing down through the feet. And to begin your sun salutations, you're going to step your feet hip distance apart. And if you ever want to measure what is hip distance, it's 2 fists, because we're going sitting bone to sitting bone. So 2 fists between the feet, that measures your feet perfectly for hip distance. So come into a hip distance stance, keep your right foot where it is, step your left foot to the back of the mat. Bend the right knee to 90 degrees. And this is your warrior 1. So again, we've moved into this pose with no pressure on the hands. And you can even, if this feels too much, hands can come to the waist. You can cactus the arms or bring the arms overhead. So choose the arm variation that feels best for you. We're going to come into this pose. The cactus arms really helps to keep the chest open, which is good for your chakras there, the throat and the heart. So I'm pulling my tailbone under, pressing both feet into the ground, squeezing them towards each other, and finding the Ujjayi breath. 5 breaths on each side, stepping back to the top of the mat, feet hip distance. 1 full breath here. On the inhale, I step the right foot back. Exhale down to warrior on the left. So deep knee bend. Left leg is at 90 degrees. Pulling the navel in, tucking the tailbone. Choosing the arm variation. 5 breaths. You want to roll to the outside edge of the back foot. So both arches are lifted. Engaging the breath. 5 slow rounds of Ujjayi. And stepping back to the top of the mat on your inhale. So from here, 1 full round of breath. Again, feet hip distance. We're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. Coming into warrior 1 and then opening up to warrior 2. Warrior 2, you change your leg orientation so your front heel is lined up with your back arch. Deep knee bend. You can flip the palms up to release the shoulders. Tucking the tailbone, pressing the right knee out to the right. For triangle pose, I'm going to straighten my front leg. I'm bringing my left arm behind me. And then reaching forward, right hand comes down, lean back, take the gaze up. I don't want to be dumping into this right hand. You can even float that hand to come into this pose. Last, the left arm goes up. So from this side, straightening the right leg, left arm behind, coming down. The left arm behind keeps me from dropping this way. If I want to continue to draw left shoulder back, right hand comes down to the shin, left arm goes up. No pressure on this arm. You can just let it float there. You want to really engage the sides of the waist. 5 breaths. Back up. Stepping back to the top of the mat. Step the right foot back. Warrior 2. Front heel lined up with the back arch. I have arthritis in this left hip, so it's really hard for me to get any mobility. So pressing the left knee out, tucking the tailbone, reaching the fingertips away. To transition to triangle, straighten the left leg, left arm, right arm behind you, hinge forward, draw the right shoulder back, rest the left hand on the leg, take the right arm up, and then take that pressure off the wrist, floating the left hand. 5 breaths. My gaze is up to my thumb. If you want to practice this against the wall, you would have your hips and your sitting bone against the wall. You're going to come up after 5 breaths and parallel the feet. So now both feet are facing the side of the mat, toes pointing slightly in, heels apart. If I bring my arms to a T, my hands are kind of roughly above my feet. I'm going to tuck my tailbone, shoulders up, back and down, and come forward. And you can use your blocks here if you'd like. Again, you don't want to put any pressure on the hands. Adjust this just a bit. Right, so I'm not putting any pressure on the hands, but if you want to really make sure you're not putting pressure, just bring the hands to the waist. And I'm coming into a forward fold, trying to bring the head under the hips. So I also need to shift the weight forward on my feet. At the same time, I'm lifting the arches, lifting the toes, drawing the shoulders back towards each other. You can shake the head, yes. Shake the head, no. 5 breaths. Coming back up. Stepping back to the top of the mat. So from here, we're going to transition down to the ground. So you can open up your feet now wider than your hips, bringing them to each side of the mat. You're going to bend the knees and come all the way down into a yogi squat. And I'm going to flip, will it work? Yes. Okay. Flip the orientation and move my mat here. This will be on the ground, it'll be easier for you to see me, I think. So I'm coming down into a yogi squat. Maybe your heels are up, maybe they're down, doesn't really matter. Elbows inside the knees. Trying to draw the shoulders back rather than leaning forward. Hooking the elbows in front of the shins. Pressing the chest through, shoulders are down and back. 5 breaths here. And then extending the right arm, I'm keeping that elbow inside the knee. Pick the left arm up. And gaze up to the left thumb. 5 breaths. Back through center. 1 full round of breath here. And switch. Five breaths. Back to center. From here, I'm going to come down into Baddha Konasana, seated butterfly. I like to use the blocks because I have this arthritis in my left hip. Just supports the hip flexors. So as we get older, we're not trying to push ourselves into a pose, but rather let them all be restorative. So I like to lift the knees, rise up on the sitting bones. I'm still getting an opening in my hips here. And it allows me to just relax into it and not have any anxiety that I'm going to open the hips too much and cause any pain. So after my 5 breaths, I spin around onto my back. This is another hip opener, so I'm going to keep one of my blocks handy, or you can use a big book if you have. The block is going to go outside my right hip. Shoulders flat, back of the head on the ground. Extend the left leg. I'm flexing that left foot. See over here? Flex, flex, flex. And I'm rolling it slightly towards the center line. Hug the right knee in. Right arm comes outside. I need to take the big toe. I can keep the knee bent. I want to press that heel up towards the ceiling. Back of the head and shoulders are flat on the ground. And then I'm opening the right leg to the right. The block is going to catch my right thigh and keep my left leg and left hip stabilized. So once that block catches my right leg, I'm going to press my left calf down into the ground. I'll feel an opening all the way up the left side of the body here. Left arm to 90 degrees. Then I turn my gaze over the left shoulder. 5 breaths. You come back to center and drop the hands behind the thigh or the calf. Then I can work on straightening the leg, flexing both feet, pressing the right heel up to the ceiling. Circle that foot out. Change the direction of the circles. Hug the knee in, forehead to knee. And release. Same thing on the left side. Remove that block. And draw the left knee in. Flex the right foot. Press the left heel up. Open the left leg. Stabilizes the right hip. Now I can engage the side. Press my right calf down into the ground. Right arm at 90 degrees. And I feel an opening up this whole right side. 5 breaths here. Still using your ujjayi, audible breath. And come back to center, hands behind the leg. And press that heel straight up to the ceiling, flexing both feet. Just looking at my notes here. Draw my left knee in towards the shoulder. And then I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together. Coming into Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly. I like to bring my blocks under the knees. You can bring a bolster under the knees if you'd like. Hands on the ribs or belly. Just following the breath. Five or 10 rounds as we move towards more restorative poses. From here, you're going to draw the knees in. You can stack 1 or 2 blocks under the tailbone, running long ways. I want to make sure that the blocks extend all the way under the tailbone. Sorry, my puppy's barking. Buddy, no. So I'm coming into a supported bridge, arms long, chin up to the ceiling. Let your knees knock in and heel toe the feet away from each other. And you can take 5 or 10 rounds here. Letting your shoulder blades and the back of the head relax. And then from here, I'm going to remove my blocks. Slowly roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. Shift my hips left, cross the left leg over the right, and drop the knees, coming into a spinal twist. So my left arm is extending back behind me. Turn the gaze over the left shoulder. And just relax in here. I want my knees hip height. If you want to send your feet out under the knees, you can. You can see what feels best for you. Again, this is a restorative, so 5 breaths, 10 breaths. You can stay for longer. It actually takes 3 minutes for the connective tissue and the fascia to release. So if you want to hold these restorative poses for 3 minutes, you get lots and lots of yummy benefits from doing that. When you're done, extend both arms, palms down. Use the leverage to shift the knees back to center. Uncross the legs, shift the hips right. Right leg over left. Drop the knees. Right arm at 90, and gaze over the right shoulder. And just relax into it. However many breaths, minimum of 5, up to 3 or 4 minutes if you want to. And again, when you're done, extend the arms, palms down, back to center. So we're going to do one final pose before Shavasana. And that's for your heart and your back. I want to be super gentle with this. If you use a block, I'm going to use it on its big side. My blocks are kind of smaller than the average, which I like, but you can use a block. You can also use a little pillow or roll a small towel. That's going to go on the mat between the shoulder blades. Back of the head releases down, knees together, heels apart. You can come into butterfly if you'd like, whatever feels comfortable. The important part is that you want to be able to really release the shoulders. Release the back, release the head around this block. Let the rib cage and the collarbone open. Come back to your Ujjayi breath. Minimum of 5 breaths, up to 3 or 4 minutes. If this drop off of the head feels too intense, you can extend your towel or place another block behind the head and you still get that benefit of trying to open the upper back. You know, we are hypermobile, most of us, in the lower back, and the upper is pretty locked. So we're just trying to put a gentle curve into the upper back. Feels really nice. Should all feel really nice. If it doesn't, let me know and I can give you some alternatives. And when you're done here, and move out and come into Shavasana. I always like to have something behind the legs for Shavasana, a pillow, block, something to elevate the knees, which in turn supports the lower back and keeps the lower back from bowing up, allows the tailbone to tuck and the whole spine to be supported. You stay here for 5 to 10 minutes. Let the breath return to its natural pace. Really important to finish every practice with Shavasana. And when you come out of it, gently circle the wrists and the ankles, heels to hips. You can drop the knees over to the side and roll up. The end of the practice is a great time to set an intention. My intention is the mantra that I use, Lokai Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May each of us be happy and free, and may my actions contribute to the freedom from suffering for all beings everywhere. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. Namaste.